They say that podcasts don't normally make it past its first 10
So
episodes.
everyone thinks that this big guest is going to change their podcast. It really doesn't.
Yeah.
We bought a video production company about 2 years ago.
And you're number one in this space.
And we got to work with all these incredible people. Hello Sport come through, the great cricketer, Dylan Buckley runs Producy, Equity Mates, all these people came through.
Wow, yeah. First of all, like, you must have also like so many businesses. Do you have lots of ideas that you're constantly saying no to as well?
Yeah, that was the key thing. Betoota worked because we focused on it.
Yeah.
Before that, just idea. Oh, let's do a painting business. Let's do this, do that. No,
Yeah.
it's just too much. You got to focus on things. So DM Podcast is actually Diamantina Media. So Diamantina is the shire that Betoota's in. Basically, what we saw was an opportunity with podcasting. There's also, we realized that our business was algorithm based. We didn't have a direct relationship with our audience. It's all about what Facebook or Meta was going to do with the algorithm. If they changed that or something happened to that business, we were in big trouble. So podcasting, as you know, is more of a direct relationship. Once someone subscribes to your RSS feed, you've got them. People rarely unfollow. Like, I did a big cleanse of all my podcasts I subscribed to over the summer. I haven't done that in 5 years. So we went into podcasting. We got an amazing deal. You're with Acast. Acast got an amazing deal together for us. And we started doing a podcast, a Betoota podcast. That was successful, but to do it, we built our own studio like you have here. And we had a lot of friends and they were like, hey, can I use your studio? So they started coming through, and we had people like Hello Sport come through, the great cricketer, guy Dylan Buckley runs Producy, the Squiz, Equity Mates, all these people came through.
Wow, yeah.
And we saw at a certain point, we thought, oh, we got a business
Yeah.
here. And we met the Squiz girls. They were a newsletter. And we went to have a meeting with them, and we didn't know what the meeting was for. So they were in North Sydney, and it was one of those ones where my business partner and I went, we don't know what this is about. Because it was via a friend who met Kate from a Squiz at dinner. And he said, oh, I know Betoota guys. And she said, oh, I've got to meet him. So we didn't know what the meeting was. So we went, okay, Kirribilli, Coffee 11. There's a really good Japanese barbecue in Crow's Nest. We'll go there at midday, and just went, even if this meeting's a waste of time.
Yeah,
Hey,
exactly.
we're gonna eat well.
Yeah.
You're gonna eat well. Yeah.
exactly.
You know what I'm talking about. So we did that, and the meeting was awesome. We just went, you guys got to do a podcast.
Yeah.
And Claire was going, I get up at 4:30 in the morning to write this newsletter. And we said, can you get up at 4? She goes, yeah. And we talked it through, and we trained them up on how to do it. And they were doing it Kate was doing it from bed, and they'd edit it and get it up. And that's how they became a podcast company. And now I'd say the podcasting is probably the strongest part of their business. So we sat there and went, what are we doing? There's actually a really good opportunity here. So we should actually start making a business out of this. So that's what we did. And it's been such a great journey. I mean, we then, by virtue of paying it forward, the Squiz introduced me to Lee Sales, and then we started working with Chat 10 Looks 3, which is Annabelle and Lee's podcast, which is just a phenomenon. And then we sort of
I've met Lee, she's amazing.
She's amazing. So then the business sort of started to grow, and then some of these podcasts came back, like the great cricketer came back, and we work with them currently. Yeah, we just love the space.
And you're number one in this space, like for independent.
Independent.
That's amazing.
We get to work with incredible people. We've got work with Dan Gorringe, with the great cricketer, with Amy Gerard, who's a big fan of you as well.
I love Amy.
Yeah, and it's a really fun space to be in. And we've also done award-winning podcasts where we've actually commissioned true crime podcasts and different things like that. We just did a great podcast with Square, so we do branded podcasts as well. So if you've got a brand story you want to tell, we can help you do that. If you've got a podcast you want to do, we can help you develop that as well. We've just got a package, $5,000. We'll just show you we'll basically take you from idea to getting your show out there.
Yeah.
And we just love storytelling. Yeah, really love that space. And we got to work with all these incredible people. So that's such a fun business. We bought a video production company about 2 years ago. We bought into it. And so we've got a Melbourne setup as well. And we knew podcasting was all going video. So we wanted that capacity, and we wanted a footprint in Melbourne. So that's all working well. So that just was what happened there. It was a need for us, and then an opportunity developed.
So just quickly before you jump into the next business, because I think what's also incredible is just like the thing about they say that podcasts don't normally make it past its first 10 episodes, right? And then I think that's also when people don't have that support because they don't know, they kind of get their ideas out and then they don't have that traction and they don't know what to do next. And I think that's why it's great to have the support of an agency to help. But even as the first thing you jumped into this podcast room and you're like, okay, this is what you should do with your YouTube, and already giving me advice on you should you should like trim them into like clickbaitable snippets.
You need another
make them-
camera.
You need another
all that sort of stuff.
camera, so you can like 5 days. Like,
Yeah, I'll come back. We'll go through it all.
Yeah, great. Yeah.
But we love that, and we love sharing knowledge. There's no
No, it just comes natural to you.
Yeah, and the way we worked with the podcast business, which wasn't the smartest from a business point of view, is we didn't take IP in any of the shows. So, except the stuff that we'd personally developed as our own. So, all the Betoota formats we own, but everything else we've done is collaborations. And we do that because I think you could do a podcast from a laptop with a microphone. You don't actually need us. It's going to be so much better if you do it with us in our studio with our help. But we're not overcooking what we're doing here. So we're very respectful of the talent. And I think that's why we've got to work with all the best people, because we don't actually, we're not
you're not a
equity
record
pigs.
label that
Correct.
owns
That's
you.
exactly it. We're not a record label. And that's the analogy we use.
Yeah.
But what you're saying is true. I think 50% of all podcasts on Apple Podcasts are one episode. So most people don't get past one episode.
Yeah, wow.
Right? Yeah. But I mean, looking at your podcast, how we'd approach it, I mean, you've got a really great podcast. What do you know about your podcast? Who listens to your podcast?
I don't know. This is the thing. It's like, it's hard to really get that feedback that you would with social media, right? You don't and it's hard to really get, even if you have stats on like the different episodes, because I am also doing different guests, it's different lengths.
Do different ones perform better?
Yeah, but it's not that much. Like, you can tell when it's like, you get someone who's like a bit like super famous, you know, but it's not a huge discrepancy, I guess.
So everyone thinks that this big guest is going to change their podcast.
No, it won't change.
And it's not. It doesn't change it. It really doesn't.
Yeah.
The thing is, I mean, why do you think people listen to your podcast? Why do you think they're coming? And what do you think, what problem is it solving for them?
I'm thinking it's like people who are like, who have early stage, who have a business, generally like smaller, more early stage, or thinking about starting a business, who want to get inspired by the guests. And I think people who are like also excited by, like, I'm personally excited by finding out about the people behind the brands, people who have created these like household names that you know. And then also, like, you know, if you're just driving or doing something mundane, which is, I guess, the whole point of the podcast, is that you're actually entertained by the conversation as well. So I'm hoping it's also like entertaining, and it's not too much just like, this is a guide on how to start a business, and it's more conversational, more about personal development as well.
I think that stacks up. But may I tell you what I think?
What do you think? Yeah.
So I think the guests are fantastic, and it's also a flex by you who you can talk to, and it's very interesting stories. But I think the reason people come back is because of you and your story. I think your story is so inspirational and so unique. I know so many people who are East Asian, South Asian, Southeast Asian, who worked in accounting or finance, who are sitting at KPMG.
Those are people stopping me on the street, who
are working at KPMG, who have a droning job, and they look at you and go, she got out.
Yeah.
She got out. She's got this incredible business. It's in fashion. You're killing it. You've got this glamorous life. You've got a great husband. You've got this cool business. I think that's what people come for, is that you are such an inspirational story for people. And then on top of that, then they're getting everything else. But I think podcasting is very intimate. People who listen to your show think they're friends with you. So if you do a live show, they all think they're friends with you, and they want to get around the tribe of other people who love you as well. So I think you need to sort of, I know you do it a little bit, you got to find ways to create more of a dialogue, because I know people, when you drop a tidbit about your life or your business, that's actually what people want more than anything else. And I think if you can create a dialogue, because otherwise it's one way. And I know you do some stuff where you go, like, you got people sending me questions, cool. But I think there should be more episodes where you just answer questions, and you actually go back and forward. I think that's actually will unlock stuff for you as well, because people want more of you, because it is such an inspirational story. And there's so many people, I think, that relate to what you've achieved. And it's a dream that they have.
We used to have a bonus, like, Ask Me Anything episode.
Yeah.
That we used to add to the end of the month. And that was just like, I ran out of time. But you know, we should just put it into one of the weekly episodes. Because I was saying that, like, the way I prep for podcasts, I'll like go and listen to what the podcast someone's done. Like, you Google and you listen to the podcast. And then you're like, well, you know, besides a few questions I ask, a few comments that I make, then how is this actually that different to someone else's podcast, right? So then where is the me in this? So that's you've hit the nail on the head.
If you look at something like, we've got a podcast, A Great Cricketer, they have a Patreon, and the thing that's behind the paywall is what they call Ask TGC, so Ask the Great Cricketer. And that's the stuff people actually charge for. And that's what the super fans want, is actually ask a question. And they've created this thing where the questions are actually sometimes just funny. They'll just read out a question and laugh. Because people also just trying to write the most absurd question, and they are a comedy podcast, and that's what they do. But look, it'd be the type of thing, you get someone to come in, like I come in once a month and do it with you or something like that. If you just want people to just throw in questions and just go, hey, people just ask questions and go, like that's a really fun format. And that would really work for you. Because I think people want to know more about you.
It's more of a
it's a dialogue.
Yeah.
It's what it is. And then you can also, then you've got your normal podcasters who are doing it. But they're also very easy to prep for. Someone just needs to compile questions, then just read them out. Like pretty easy, very easy format.
Yes. Okay. Oh my God, I love it. Okay.
All right.
Love this.
So then, okay. So the next business, the next business being button management. So we've started a talent management business, and the logic behind this was simple. Anyone we work with has to have some sort of audience. We're not going to start a podcast with someone who's just got a great idea, because how is it going to get out there? So that might be Lee and Annabelle have their media platform that they're on, their traditional media. Or you work with someone like Dan Gorringe, who's got 10 million followers on TikTok. Okay, easy, work with them. But what we found with a lot of people who work in that space is they're always jumping around talent management, because a lot of times it's a friend, or it's quite a young industry, the television business, and you know this, right?
Yeah.
So we saw that they all would stay with us. So podcasting, our relationship was much stickier than the talent management relationship was. So we thought, okay, we like the way we do business. We think we've worked out how to do this branded content with Betoota. We've got a lot of respect from people, and we've got a really good stable of talent that we work with. Let's try and move into that space. So we're not trying to make it huge, but we're trying to work with really talented creators and help them navigate that pathway to become their own media company. Do like what the Hello Sport guys have done, do what the Great Cricketer guys have done, do what the Squiz have done, become a media business and help them go on that journey. And not just make it about podcasts. The other thing is, you'd see with the podcast advertising, it's not just, it's a social integration people want as well. So it's also just, this is the way it's going anyway.
Yeah.
So that's how we've approached it, is trying to become this talent management business and look at things holistically, and do what we've done with Betoota, do TV shows. We're writing another TV show this week, but it's not Betoota facing, but it's by Betoota. We've created merch. We've done, Amy Gerard's done her wine.
Yeah.
Just coming up with different ways.
Okay,
we help do that deal. So it's just trying to find other ways for people to actually, I guess, make this a lifestyle, because it's a great lifestyle.
So what do you think with the management agency, what do you think your USP is? Like, what sets you apart? Is it the holistic offering, or is it the way that, because of your experience, you understand it from the creator side?
Exactly that.
Yeah.
We've done it.
Yeah.
We've done it. We're doing it. We'll do it with you in a way that's authentic. We haven't, as you said, we've had the Foster's backlash. Other than that, we've had no backlash.
Yeah.
We've got a great reputation. Like, touch wood, that could change tomorrow. We understand that. But we've got a great reputation 10 years in. And we've done it. And we've got some of the most viral content in Australia, and we're monetizing it. So we can show you how to do that in an authentic way and don't compromise. A lot of people we work with go, but that one, no, we don't want to do that. Or we only want to do it as a story, not as a reel, because it's not authentic to who we are. So, okay, let's find the way to do it. Let's find your path to being able to do this properly. So we think that's our unique selling point. We're not talent managers. We're a business of content creators who've built a business of structure around ourselves, and we can do the same for other people.
Love that.
Yeah.
And so how do you juggle everything?
Well, they all line up, right?
Yeah.
And we've got a great team. We've got 12 people in Sydney, and then we've got a team in Melbourne as well. And everyone carries their weight. Everyone's got great ideas. Everyone's empowered. I think that's key.